Welcome back, my enlightened ones. Welcome back to my channel. Gotta turn down my speaker so I don't hear myself talking. So, how is everybody tonight? Everybody doing good? Everybody doing okay? Let me jump over. I don't have my keyboard, so I couldn't jump into chat and say hi to everybody. So, I'm going to do that now. Just give me 1 second to jump over to comments. Hello, Sarah Sinister, my beautiful daughter, and Chris. Thank you, thank you, and Natalie, and anybody else who stumbles along our channel. I believe, oh, Julie just popped in, and Carrie is on. Welcome, Carrie. Welcome, Julie. Great to have you guys. This is going to be a great, fun night. I got lots of things in store for you guys. It might be a little gruesome because we will be discussing the mummification process and how Anubis goes about doing his duties, his funeral rites. So anyway, so this is going to be a lot of fun tonight. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for stopping by, and like and subscribe so I can get my craziness out there, please. I do have stuff flying around the room, so it's kind of nuts. So anyway, yeah, tonight it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about getting this going. We're going to be making mummies tonight. I have two of them here. I have one here. This is one mummy that I made, and this is more of a traditional mummy with the googly eyes. So anyway, I'm going to show you, kind of give you the both ways to actually make these. A lot of trial and error, believe me, depending on the wood and so forth that you are using. Anyway, that is dust from me shaking my mummies. So I hope everybody's doing great tonight. So tonight's class, this is about Anubis. Anubis. Yeah, he's keeper of the underworld. He helps out there. He helps cross souls over, as well as he weighs your soul. And if you look right there on the weight, there's actually a heart that is on the weight. That's one of the things that they actually do not put in the canopic jars, is the heart, because it has to be weighed against the truth feather, okay, to see how pure and how good you are to be able to cross over to a good place. So as I said, Anubis is, he actually invented mummification. I'm going to show you some failed ways that they did it, and I'm going to show you how they kind of perfected it over time and finally get it right. So a few key facts that we will be going over tonight. Anubis was god of the dead in the underworld until Middle Kingdom. Middle Kingdom is when Osiris took over, and I'll be explaining to you what happened there. He is one of the oldest gods. Referenced in texts go back as far as the Old Kingdom, which I will be telling you what the dates are on that. Anubis is the inventor of God. He's the god of embalming and mummification. He created this on how to preserve the body, because they felt that when you cross over to the other side, they preserve the body in case you need to come back and reclaim your body. That's why they put their internal organs in canopic jars, which we'll be learning about as well. He guided the death through the underworld. The underworld is called the Duat. Sebastian, I got my puppy right next to me. Sorry, he hears talking upstairs, I think. Let's see here. So if we look at this picture here, we have Nut at the top there. The nut is the stars. It's basically the universe is what Nut is, all right? Tefnut over, I believe it's on this side. It's opposite for me. Tefnut over here is actually the dew. It's moisture that's actually in the air. And then you have Shu as well. And Shu is the god of air. And then, of course, we have Geb at the bottom. Geb would be a form of Mother Gaia. So you can kind of see how these beliefs that we have, like pagan beliefs, like in Mother Gaia, in the sun, which is Ra, but we believed in a bigger god that is below the sun, which would be in Greek form. Which would be below Helios, which would be the equivalent to Ra. So a 10 up at the top there, that round sun, that would be the god of all gods that is in control. And then it goes down to Ra and so forth, and Amun and so forth. So anyway, so you kind of get the gist there, so you understand what I'm talking about there. A crouching statue of Anubis, which you have all seen many times. I have lots of banners. Just give me 1 second to find him. Here it is. All right, you have seen this. This is actually the statue of Anubis that is in King Tutankhamun's or King Tut's tomb. He watches over the dead. He makes sure that you go where you need to go, because if you don't go where you need to go, you're going to be meeting a goddess tonight that is made of 3 different beasts, and she consumes the ones that are not worthy of the truth feather and weighing the heart. So that's kind of crazy. Priests who performed the embalming of dead corpses wore jackal masks. So in the beginning, Anubis did the funeral rites on these beings, but then Osiris took over. And then when Osiris was murdered, yes, he was murdered. When he was murdered, other people actually took over for Anubis, because Anubis went up to necropolis. What you're going to be learning about is just the land of the dead. It's basically graveyards upon graveyards, ceremonial grounds where they buried their dead. Depending on how much money you had, you either get thrown in the sand or you get entombed in a beautiful pyramid. So money was a thing, so very important back then. So what they would do is people would step in and perform mummification rites and embalming rites, and they would actually wear the jackal mask to honor Anubis. So I do have pictures of that as well. Let me see here. I have many. Let's see here. Too many, too many, too many. So here is Anubis here. It's, again, there's a reason why he's known to be in his black form, which is kind of interesting. When a body dies and it starts to putrefy, that's the word, it turns black. If you ever noticed a decomposing animal that you might have seen on the side of the road or something somewhere, I got a tickle in my throat. Anyway, so in time, it turns black as it starts to decay and rot away. And that's the reason why Anubis is known as being this black color. Now, it's funny because in Greek mythology, it blends Hermes. Okay, remember Hermes? He would take lost souls down to the ferryman. He and they combined it with Anubis's name, and the result is God Hermanubis. There's a name for you. So Hermanubis. All right. So son of Nephites. The problem I had with this is that they don't know exactly who his parents are. I asked, and this is what I got. So I'm going to share this with you. Nephites was his mom. Very beautiful. Nephites, geez, would naturally be a mother god who oversaw the embalming process and also guided souls in the afterlife. She was also known as a psychopump. You've heard me use that word before. In fact, I have people in this class that are psychopumps. Julie, Carrie, myself, Sarah, Natalie, you've all have crossed souls over. That makes you a form of psychopump. Psychopomp guides lost souls. The son of Nephites and Set is, they believe, this is Set here. Now you can see where Anubis might get his nose from. So Set is also speculated as Seth. You see it spelled Seth, but it's pronounced Set, as in set it on the table. They believe that this is Anubis's father, and this is what was told that this is Anubis's father. In this version, it is believed that Nefertiti disguised herself as Osiris's beautiful sister, Isis, which we're going to be learning about in a near class here very soon, to beget half brother for Horus. Okay, as Set is the god of darkness, he's chaos. You're looking at chaos right here, guys. Remember when we went through the Greek Greek pantheon, we discovered that everything came from chaos, that darkness, and from the darkness came the light, if you remember. And this is how, again, see what I'm saying about how in different cultures it kind of follows the same kind of scheme going on there. So that's quite interesting. So Set is the god of darkness, storms, destruction, and it's easy to see how Anubis could also be his son. Son of Nephites and Ra. This is the other version. This is what I'm hearing a no on. Nephites and Ra. In early mythology, Ra, the sun god, was depicted as being Anubis's father, while his mother was depicted as either Haset, the cow goddess, or Bastet, the cat-headed goddess, which we talked about, and that's a no because Bastet is Ra's daughter, okay? So that would make his brother, that would make her be the mother of Anubis, which should also be the sister. So that doesn't make sense. That didn't jive with me, and they said no, that's not the case. So we're back to Nefertiti is the mom, and Set is the father. Okay, Anubis is also called Inpu. All right, and the ancient Egyptian god of funerary practices and care of the dead. It's represented as a jackal. Let's see here. Yeah, I can show this to you guys. Anubis is a jackal-headed god associated with mummification in the afterlife in Egyptian mythology. Anubis is the Old Kingdom, was the most important god of the dead, but he was replaced during the Middle Kingdom by Osiris. Okay, so he's represented as a jackal figure of a man with a head of a jackal. In the early dynastic period in the Old Kingdom, he enjoyed this position as Lord of the Dead, but he was later overshadowed and gave the job to Osiris. His role is in here. Let's go up here. You can see who Osiris is here. It's right under Nut to the left there. That's Osiris hanging out there. All right, his role is reflection in such epaulets. Remember, epaulets means different names. So his name means he who is upon his mountain. Necropolis is his mountain, and I'll pull that up for you here. Necropolis. Okay, so starting with Necropolis. Okay, so there were several necropolises, and they're around the world. They're not just Egyptian necropolises, but if you think about it, the word necromancy means having to do with the dead. So it makes sense. Necropolis, necro, there's that word necro, meaning dead. Okay, so it's a mountain of the dead, basically, is what that word means. So this is one form of it here. This is another one here. Um, so the Lord of Sacred Land also is what his name means for most of Westerners, and he who is in the place of embalming. Here is necropolis again. This is a different necropolis. Now, the most important necropolis, this is the one where they feel that Anubis actually resides at. It's at the Pyramid of Giza. Pyramid of Giza, I believe, is the one on the left, right in front of the Sphinx that you see sitting there. And again, this is an upward view of Mount Giza, Pyramid Giza. I believe that's the one in the middle that you see that you're looking at. His particular concern was with funerary cults in the care of the dead. Hence, he was reputed to be the inventor of embalming. So let's go back up here to our embalming. So here he is embalming, an art he first employed on the corpse of Osiris. They believe Set killed Osiris. We will be learning about that more in future classes, but they believe Set killed Osiris, and this pissed Anubis off. And I want to tell you what Anubis did to Set. He actually skinned him alive and wore his skin because he wanted to show to other people that this was not acceptable. So, yeah, so they don't mess around back then. Can't hurt a cat. Don't kill Osiris. Never kill a pharaoh. So anyway, let's see here. He is the god of the dead in embalming. He is in charge of guiding the dead to have their heart weighed. He also protects the good souls from Amut. You're going to be learning about tonight Amut, the devourer. He had the same job as Osiris until Osiris was murdered. As I said, this is Amut. This is Amut. If you don't pass the feather weighing with your heart, this is where you go. A mutt devours the dead. It's a hippo in the hindquarters. It's a lion in the top of the body, and it's got a crocodile head, and this is a female, and she will eat you. Eat you all up. Here we go. Anubis can be known as both a jackal, as a vicious dog of the night, or a bunny rabbit. That was new to me, a bunny rabbit. No one really knows who Anubis' parents are. I found out 5 different stories, but the one I shared with you, as I said, Nephthys and god Set, I believe, are the parents. Anubis was one of the gods that found Osiris's body. Yeah, he wasn't too happy about that one. All right. So in later role, he was a conductor of souls, known as being a psychopump. He was sometimes identified in Greco-Roman world in the Greek as Hermes, as I said, and they combine the two names as Hermanubis. So that's quite interesting there. So I just want to make sure I'm going down the line here as I go. We did that one already. Okay, let's do this one. All right. Anubis was an Egyptian jackal-headed god of death, mummification, embalming, cemeteries, tombs, the afterlife, and the underworld. And you're going to learn tonight what they called the underworld. He was also the protector of graves and acted as a psychopump. His symbols are mummy, gauze, of course, which we're going to be using tonight to make our mummies, the jackal, the flail, you're going to find out what the flail is in a moment. And dark hues, this is the black color, this is the putrid, this is the decomposition of a body, and fetishes. So one more thing, here we go. Also known as the dog boy, Anubis wasn't the god of the dead, they say. He wasn't god of the dead, he was just the psychopump that guided them. So this is kind of controversy, a little controversial here that I wanted to throw in here. He was a god who watched the burial of the deceased and who showed the dead people how to get to the underworld. He was assisted by god Thoth. Now you remember Thoth, I believe he's up here in our chart, that's why I put up. He's the one with the really long nose right at the bottom there, right next to Set. He was the scribe. He is the scribe of Aten, the god. He writes everything down, every thought in your head. You think that's sacred? Good luck with that. It gets written down. Thoth is still at work. He's still writing things down. Um, anyway, so if we look here, the Duat is the underworld. Okay, that is the world name for the underworld. Now we talked about Ra going through, as the sun sets in the west. He goes down to the Duat at night. Remember in his little tep, his boat here. Remember his boat. All right, so he goes down to the Duat. Okay, and in the Duat, if you see over there to the left, there's that dang snake thing again, that lovely, oh my goodness, I'm lacking words here, a pep, also known as Apopsis in Greek mythology. So that is a pep. A pep tries to eat the sunlight. It wants eternal darkness. He kind of works with Set. He wants that darkness. He's chaos, and he wants to bring it forth. So, also too, Anubis is in charge of the Book of the Dead. Yes, this is actually the Book of the Dead that you're looking at here. A collection of formulas, hymns, and prayers for the deceased in the ancient Egypt, also known as the Pyramid Texts. The Egyptians believed that the Book of the Dead was needed to pass safely through the demons of the underworld after death. Okay, so this is the judgment of the death. I forgot to grab my picture. Hang on one second, guys. Okay, so this is a picture that I did, that I made. But if you notice, okay, you don't see the scales on the other side because I kind of cut the picture off. But this is the feather of truth here that he actually weighs the heart against. Um, and as we see here in this picture, oops, there it goes, in this picture here. So that is the heart. So he's weighing the truth feather against your heart. So it's seeing how light you are in frequency. Basically, is if you do dark deeds and do dark things, your heart gets heavier and heavier with the weight of these burdens of basically sin, is what you're looking at there. And they weigh that against the truth feather. So that's quite interesting there. Um, So moving on down the line. Okay. So here's his boat going into, this is a 10. This is Apopsis. You've heard me speak of Apopsis. Also too in Nordic, they have a at the Yggdrasil, the tree of life, they actually have a dragon there. Remember? We discussed it. It chews away at the roots of the tree, trying to drop the tree of life to take the light out. So again, different cultures and in different parts of the world, but yet the same creature. So that's kind of interesting there. So, Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of the afterlife and all aspects of death and what comes after, he is one of the oldest Egyptian gods, with the earliest mentions being between 6,000 to 3,150 BCE. With his characteristic jackal head, he is also one of the most recognizable gods in the Egyptian pantheon. I had some more of him down here. Here's a pretty one of him. Anubis, the Egyptian mythology, was once the god presiding over the underworld, but he gave his role away to Osiris as a sign of his respect towards the deceased god. So when Osiris died, he gave away the his role to Osiris out of respect for the god. All right. The Egyptian pantheon continues to show up today in art and literature for the ancient Egyptians. Anubis was lord over everything related to death and protection. Yes, I'm all about protection, so I can kind of connect with the guy. And I know some of you guys are all about protection in here as well, so you can kind of connect with Anubis here. We will be saying a prayer later just to thank him for what he does. But he does teach protection, and he watches over the souls, and to make sure that they go where they need to get going. So Anubis imagery is in most tombs in homes. Millions of dogs have been found mummified, perhaps as sacrifices to Anubis, where his worshippers gathered. He is the earliest god depicted on the tomb walls in the pyramids, the tombs dating back to Egypt's first dynasty between 3,150 and 2,890 BCE. All right, so Anubis, which is also means Ampu, which you've heard me mention, which means royal child, makes sense as during the Middle Dynasties and later the stories of Anubis tell that he was the son of Osiris. That's not true. I do not get that. Similarly, onpu means to decay. So onpu, Onpoo, means to decay. That's that black putrid color of Anubis there, which is also associated with Anubis's was the god of death. Most scholarship indicates the intention was probably the blending of two meanings to mean that Anubis was a royal child who had dominion over death and decay. So black is that putrid flesh. There are several addition epithets, different names for him. He's also known as Lord of the Sacred Land because he controlled the territory of Necropolis, as I said, which was the entryway to the afterlife. The dog who swallows millions because he was the god of death. That's another name for him. He who is in the place of embalming because of his role in mummification, masters of secrets because he knew what happened after death. So, we're going to be learning about this tool that he's holding in his hand because we're getting into the mummification process. So, up, I forgot I put this in here. So, this is the truth feather, feather of truth on this side, and the heart being weighed on the other side. And if the heart makes the feather go up, you're out the door. But if the heart goes up and the feather comes down, such you see in this photo, you're free and clear to pass. So that's actually a good thing there. So let's see here. Dog who swallows millions. Okay. Master of secrets. He knows what happens to you after death. So as I said, necropolis was an elaborate tomb monuments, as you can see here. In these monuments, they stem from the ancient Greek necropolis, literally meaning city of the dead. That's what necropolis means, because remember, necro means dead, anything having to do with the dead. So necromancy means anything to have to do with the dead. Using a Ouija board, you're doing a form of necromancy, having something to do with the dead. The term usually implies a separate burial site of a distance from a city opposite of the tombs within cities, which were common in various places and periods in history. There are different grave fields. As I said, here's some different ones here, which did not have structures or markers above the ground. Um, I don't have that one in here. I didn't find that one. Okay. While the world is most commonly used to the ancient sites, the name was revived in the 19th century and applied to planned city cemeteries such as Glasgow necropolis in Scotland. And like I said, these necropolises are all over the world. Okay. So money depends on how you were buried. Remember that. Entrances to rock the catacombs in the Valley of the Kings in the Theban necropolis. This is where they believe that Anubis resides, which is on the Nile in Egypt. It's yes. So let's just one. Set tried to steal the body of Osiris after he murdered him, disguised as a leopard, but Anubis caught him and branded him um, all over with a hot iron. He then flayed, removed his skin, and with Seth still being alive, and wore his bleeding skin as a warning to evil doers that this is what's going to happen to you. So let's get into the embalming process here. All right. Ancient Egypt is noted for having multiple necropolises. Necropolises? All right. Ancient Egypt funerary practices, beliefs in the afterlife led to the construction of several extensive necropolis says necropolis line after it. Okay. To secure and provision the dead in the hereafter. These necropolises were therefore major archaeological sites in Egyptianology. Probably the best known ancient Egyptian necrology, as I said, is in Giza. Where did my Giza go? Giza, where'd you go? Yeah, that was Giza. Yeah, that's Giza right there. Huh. Pay attention, cat. Made famous by the Great Pyramid of Giza, which was included the seven wonders of the ancient world. And the next wonder of the ancient world is the Sphinx sitting right in front of it. The necropolis includes three major pyramids, tombs of the old kings. What is that over one? I need this one. So you can see the three pyramids here. Several smaller pyramids related to the royal burials, as well as mastabas. Mastabas are a typical royal tomb of early dynastic period in the tombs and graveyards of lesser of the deceased. So let's get down to the fun stuff, shall we? Mummies! All right. So Anubis iconic imagery comes in a couple basic versions with the jackal, the canine features. Scholars suggest this imagery developed during the pre-dynastic Egyptian between the 6,000 to 3,150 BCE. At that time, wild dogs and jackals congregated on the edges of the cemeteries, and they would dig up the bodies and they would eat them. Yes, they would consume them. So having a canine god protect over the graves, this was Anubis's job. He protected these graves from the grave robbers. Yes, people, human beings, grave robbers, as well as these jackals and these canines that come to feed at night that are starving. The use of stone tombs also arose around the same time and protected the dead from scavengers like dogs, jackals, and tomb raiders. Tomb Raiders. I've seen that movie. One of the most recognizable images of Anubis is the black canine, as I said, sit crouched. This sits in near the sarcophagi of King Tut, as I said, guarding over it. And most of all, Anubis's depiction, the jackal portion is not an entire figure, is black And the wild jackals are gray and tan. However, black is the color of death and the color of the rich soil of the Nile Valley. And that's where Anubis resides. The necropolis as at the Nile Valley. That's the Valley of the Kings. Okay. In the afterlife, the body decays, and the richness is the rebirth again to the soil, and that is depicted in his black color. Egyptian god of the afterlife roles what Anubis god is in ancient Egypt. When it comes to death in the afterlife, almost everything. In the earliest iterations of Anubis, he was the complete lord over death and performed all duties related to death in the afterlife. However, beginning in the Middle Kingdom, some of his roles were overtaken by Osiris, and Anubis became more associated with the preparation in the afterlife, protection of the dead, escorting souls to the hall of judgment, and ensuring the scales were fair. And as I said, this is the hall of judgment here. The human body. Anubis was the god of the human body after death and invented embalming and mummification for Osiris after Set killed Osiris. Ancient Egyptian priests wore Anubis masks during embalming and again during funeral ceremonies to recognize Anubis's role in preparing the human body for the afterlife. So they wore masks. You can actually see one here. He's actually wearing an Anubis mask as he prepares the body for the embalming process. Anubis escorted souls to the afterlife and participated in weighing the soul's heart against the feather of truth in the halls of Mot. This is in the underworld where he does this. The heart was placed on one side of the scale and the feather of truth on the other. There it is. The balance of the two would indicate purity and innocence of the deceased. Anubis then escorted the innocent souls to their paradise existence, and those who did not pass the test would be consumed by a mutt. Yes, there's a mutt right here. So, the balance of the two would indicate purity and innocence. Ammut, the goddess of the divine retribution, received guilty souls to devour and to eat. Anubis was also a patron god to two groups of people. Lost souls, including the helpless and orphans, prayed to Anubis for protection, probably due to the protection that he gave to souls in the afterlife. Also, anesthesiologists. I thought this was interesting. Anesthesiologists and healers are considered him to be a patron god, and his priests were skilled healers, probably related to their knowledge of the anatomy due to the experience on embalming process. So that's crazy. So let's move on down to the embalming process. Okay. These the mummies. In comparison with other gods, I'm just closing up here and then we're done with this page, guys, and we're done and moving on to the embalming process. There are a few myths about Anubis outside those associated with the role of the dead. Scholars postulate, they guess, that the sheer size and scope of his role with death in the afterlife largely prevented him from being involved in other Egyptian myths. Anubis in modern culture. Today, Anubis continues to hold a place in popular culture in his image in mythology, appearing in various forms of media, including literature, film, television, video games. His jackal headed form has become an iconic symbol of the ancient Egyptian mythology. Often featured in contemporary art and fashion, Anubis has also been a popular subject in fantasy and sci fi, often portrayed as a powerful and mysterious deity with various supernatural abilities. Okay, let's move on, shall we? The purpose of mummification. We're going to learn about the purpose because I'm going to show you what happens to the body when they don't do it right. The ancient Egyptians believed that the after death, remember you've heard me talk about the ka in the ba, okay? This is your chi, this is your life force. They would travel to another world during the day, and at night they would return to find their bodies. This is why they were so see what I did there, dead set, on preserving these bodies in case they needed to come back. So that's interesting. Afterlife and mummification. In addition, Egyptians buried their dead with everything they would need for eternity, including their cats. They would use mummification to preserve dead bodies by embalming them. Pharaohs were buried in the Valley of the Kings. This is where Anubis resides, with elaborate tombs like 18-year-old Pharaoh King Tut, as I said. Okay, going through the process, ancient Egyptian mummification developed over time. So, in the first picture here, this is before natural mummification. The first burials in the hot desert sands led to natural mummification of the whole body. So, they would just dump them in the sand with a few artifacts, and depending on how much money you had, this would be you if you were. This would be me. They just dump you in the sand, and over time, the heat, you basically would bake, is what would happen. Later, placing the body in a coffin meant that the only thing that would be left would be the skeleton. So, this is why Anubis created the artificial mummifying the body before putting it into the coffin. The coffin. The coffin can't talk. Whoop. Steps to the afterlife. Once you announce the death, Osiris is dead. You embalm the body. You remove the brains, but you don't remove all the brains. No, just part of the brains. And we're going to learn what they use to get the brains out. Then they remove the internal organs, but not the heart. Drying out the process, they wrap the body, and then the final possession. That's when they're actually entombed into the ground. So let's learn about some of their tools, shall we? So, the materials used in mummification is linen, of course, which we'll be using tonight, sawdust, lichen, which is a form of moss. You can see that green moss there in the center. That is lichen. Beeswax, resin. Remember Bastet? She was in charge of the resin bottles. She was in charge of those perfume bottles. The natron. Natron is salt. It is a sodium type of salt that they actually put over the bodies to dry the bodies out. Okay. Onion, probably to remove the smell. I don't know. I'd rather smell onion than rotting body. Nile mud, they would pack them with mud as well. Linen pads, which I'm going to be using some tonight. Frankincense, which kind of put me on a thought to making these mummies tonight, that why not make it a form of healing poppet and put some herbs in it, as we would, as Anubis would, into his mummies, and make it a healing protection poppet for yourself. So not only is it looks nice for Halloween and Samhain, but you can actually, it serves a purpose of protection as well. So putting frankincense, a couple beads of frankincense into the mummy, that would be awesome. Brain hooks. These are replicas here in the picture. I believe you're on this side. Sorry, I'm in mirror vision here. So the brain hooks would be over here. These are replicas. These are actually in the Smithsonian Institute. The oil jar. The oil jar is what Bastet is known for, is the oil jars, and it has to do with funeral rites. The embalmer's knife. And that thing with the two, looks like two straws coming out of it. Looks like a cup, like a spoon with two straws coming out of it. Okay. That is a funnel. This is how they put the oils and stuff into your body. And the knife up here, the knife, that is just stone there. Yeah, that's crazy. Cutting you with stone. So here is the mummification process. Anubis is believed to have invented the process of mummification. Removal of all swiftly decaying internal organs is the first thing they need to do. So they need to get these internal organs out of there and put into these Copic jars. You can see the Copic jars over here. The use of natron, as I said, a type of dehydrating salt to cover the body and place in packets inside the body to dry out the body. We're making it beef jerky. Then wrapping the body with linen strips, depositing the mummies into their coffins or sarcophagus, or final wrapping for the burial. The process of mummification also involves inserting a hook through the hole near the nose and pulling out part of the brain, making a cut on the left side of the body near the tummy to remove the internal organs. There's only 4 internal organs that they put into these canopic jars, and I'm going to tell you what they are. Letting the internal organs to dry in the canopic jars, placing the lungs in one jar, intestines in another jar, the stomach in another jar, and the liver in the last jar. So here we go. So there's the first picture there. You can see them. He's getting ready to put the hook into a cut that is going to be a precision that's made on the side of the face. I believe they go up through the sinus cavity, I believe is the fastest way to get to the brain. They scramble it a bit and then they take out a piece of it. Why they don't take out the whole thing, I'm not sure. And why do they not put the I believe they're taking out the part of the brain that has to do with this life, because each part of the brain is tied to something. Maybe you don't need it in the next life. I don't know, but they don't care to put it in canopic jars, so I think they just discard it. So in the second picture, here they are. They're pouring oils over the body, and they're frankincense, and in the next picture they're actually putting salt. That's that natron. They're putting salt all around the body. They put it in the body cavity as well, where they've removed the internal organs, and they also put it around the body, so they dry it from the inside as well as the outside. And then they do this for 70 days. They have to wait 70 days before they can move on to the next process, which is actually wrapping the mummy up. And then in the last picture, and then in the last 2 pictures, you can see it. They're taking the mummy. Here's the mummy. And they're putting it in the esophagi. There we go. And then, hey, look at this. It's Anubis. How ironic is that? So, and they're putting it in the esophagi. So basically, that's what they're doing at the end of the process. Um, so in this picture, again, this is where they're putting the oils. They also cleanse the body as well. As you know, we defecate and everything lets go when we actually pass away. So you can see up here in the pictures, you can see the canopic jars. You can see the incision there next to the stomach under the left arm. You can see him pulling out part of the brain through the nostril. That's not cool. Oh, I thought a boogie was back. Anyway, so and then you see them embalming them in the salt, and they have to do this for 70 days until the body is completely mummified before they can actually move on to the next step. And yes, I actually have pictures of real mummies. So this is one mummy here. Some mummies were actually encased in a thin layer of gold. So that's, again, it depends on your status. This is actually to the right there above it is actually what I would call a death mask. So that was actually over the face as well. But look at the wrapping they did. That look how that's so intricate and so amazing. So and this guy, I guess they didn't care much for him. And didn't take I guess he didn't have as much money. I don't know. So anyway, so here's another one. And here it shows how uh they were set in to the esophagi and how they actually set within. So here we go into this one. Mummies. The Egyptians believed that they died, they would make a journey to another world where they would lead a new life. Egyptians paid vast amounts of money to have their bodies properly preserved, ready for the afterlife. Egyptians who were poor were buried in the sand, unmarked graves, while the rich ones were buried in tombs. Um, let's see here. So 6 chariots, or so this is King Tut. This has to do with King Tut. This is to show you how much money he had. He had 6 chariots to bring him to his tomb. Okay, 7 shrouds were placed over the mummy. Four organs were from the body during mummification. The lungs, the liver, the stomach, as in the intestines, were put in canopic jars. Oh, 70 days. I'm sorry, I said 75. My bad. 70 days were required to prepare an ancient Egyptian mummy. So the salt had to sit in the body and around the body for 70 days before they could actually wrap them up. He died with zero cavities in his teeth. They didn't have much sugar. Although I believe the Egyptians did invent marshmallows. Yes, you might want to look that one up. Three people were involved in the mummification process of King Tut. One mummy has been issued with his own passport. I don't know what that is. Trip to France. Oh, okay. Apparently he's been shipped around. So he has his own passport in the afterlife. 63 tombs have discovered in Egyptians valleys of the kings, and this is where they bury the pharaohs and the kings. So, and these are a closer look at the canopic jars here, if you want to take a look. Um, so each one, I guess one represents Horus. So they represent Egyptian gods. So what do you say we get to making mummies? Who's up for making mummies? You guys ready for making mummies? I'm gonna jump over to comments though before we start because I've been really extremely rude. Welcome, Jasmine. Great to see you, my love. And Adam and Vincent. Yay! Glad everybody's here. Yay! Happy Thursday. Oh, I meant to tell you too. What did I do with my paper? Totally. I meant to tell you upcoming classes. Next week's class, we're doing Halloween around the world. We're going to learn different traditions on different parts of the world and how they celebrate Day of the Dead and celebrate the tradition of Halloween. So that's kind of cool. And then on the 26th, hello, I got stuff flying by me. It's probably from me from picking up my paper. So on the 26th of October, we're going to be carving a pumpkin, which is going to be carried over to Sinister Streams because Sarah's going to be using her jack-o'-lantern in a ghost investigation. So that's going to be fun there. So this will be the jack-o'-lantern that we will be carving for that investigation. And I will be telling you the story of Jack and why we carve pumpkins and how Jack wasn't such a great soul. So anyway, and also too, I haven't put it up yet, but I will be doing it, a protection sachet. Let's make some bags, some protection bags that you can actually hang by your door, hang by your bed. I have one on every window in my house has one of these bags there. So these are really cool to make and with herbs and lovely things. Court of Madness. Welcome, my dear. Glad to have you here. So I'm going to jump back over to banners. So let's go back over here. Show making some mummies. So this is going to be fun. Oh, October 28th, I wanted to mention too, is going to be a lunar eclipse in the Eastern Hemisphere, but we actually have two eclipses this month, believe it or not. But one is in the Southern Hemisphere, in the Southwest. That is going to be on October 14th. So we actually have two eclipses this month. So get ready for the crazy energy. That's why I'm putting you out there. The full moon, of course, October 28th. This is going to be our lunar eclipse in the Eastern Hemisphere. So anyway, I just wanted to make that. So let's get to making mummies. So this mummy here, I'm going to show you how to make. This one's pretty simple. If you look at it, it's a wooden craft stick, wire snips, craft spoons, glue dots. I'm not using glue dots. I'm actually using my glue gun, which just reminded me I have to plug the sucker in. Hang on, just 1 second. I'll be right with you. Let's see here. I'm gonna get this sucker cranking, and we're gonna count how many times I yell "ow" tonight. Okay, and burn myself. Okay. So anyway, so this one, as I said, wire snips, wooden craft sticks, wooden craft spoons, 1 square yard of muslin, torn. I cut all mine up. T-shirts. White t-shirts are amazing. I'm going to show you again my two mummies that I made before we actually start this process of making them. And of course, the little googly eyes. You need the googly eyes. That's what makes them so funny looking. So with the wire snips, I'm not even going to go through this because I'm going to explain the process to you. But here is one that I made here. This is actually, this was done with the popsicle sticks here. But I also got some, I picked up some, I gotta get it here. Hang on. You can also use paint sticks, but the paint sticks, they're harder to cut. um, like I said, this has all been trial and error for me. They sell these door hanger things. They're made of balsa wood. That's what they're made of. They're made of balsa wood that you hang on door. These are the greatest things. So to make the feet, I cut the feet out of the balsa wood because you can actually do it with a pair of regular scissors to do this. And that's how I created the feet. So that's the first mummy there. And this one actually looks more like a real mummy here with the feet, and that's not his, he's not pregnant, that's his hands there. But anyway, so these are the two mummies. I can get a little bit closer look here. So these are the two mummies that I'm going to be showing you basically how to make tonight. So let me get my paper out of the way. I got all my stuff here too. So like I said, making the feet out of balsa wood. Also too, cotton balls. You're going to want cotton balls. I do have popsicle sticks here as well. I do have one that's all ready to be glued together, but I will be going through the process on how I cut them and everything. So just give me a second to get my stuff out and out of the bag. And all right, baker's twine is awesome. Let's see, baker's twine is really awesome for like wrapping it, just kind of give it that little decorative. This is the baker's twine here. This and it's got like silver in it. It's really pretty. It's kind of hard to see. Let me kick this down a little here. Yeah, there you go. That's the baker's twine right here. It's really pretty. It's got the silver in it. So I wrap that around it just to make it a little bit more decorative. There we go. So anyway, so cotton balls, because this is what we're going to be kind of stuffing before we start wrapping the body with, is so you want the cotton balls. Of course, the googly eyes. We need lots of googly eyes. Actually, this is only like 99 cents, and there's quite a few of them in there, and they're different sizes too. They're not just the big ones. There's also little ones there too. Let me move my sarcophagus out of the way. So you're going to see a lot of stuff flying around because I'm stirring up a lot of stuff. So I find, yep, there he goes. I find that these are easy to cut the balsa wood with, which is really easy to do. Also, too, you can make them out of skewers. What I do is I take two skewers and I put them together and I tie them together, or you can glue them together with the hot glue gun. And then what I do is I take another skewer and I go across the top here, but I don't want it to be the arms. I just want it to be the shoulders of the mummy, if that makes sense. So I would cut it right here and then tie it. And then I have it here. Give me 1 second. I can show you. I thought this one's cute. Look how cute this one is. Oh, they're so cute. I like his little bendy feet. He's so damn cute. Oh, also too, one more thing before we start. Offerings to Anubis are bread, cold water, alcohol, yes, cold Anubis, spicy food, bitter chocolate, rum, figs, dates, millet. Millet is a red fish, barley, duck, or goose. So I just wanted to share that with you. All right. So the one that I actually created, which was this one here, okay? This is his body here, okay? This is how I created it. So what I did was is I took one of those paint sticks and I cut the top down a little bit, and then I cut, of course, the bottom off just to make the main body from that. And then, of course, popsicle sticks are great for the arms and for the legs. Um, but I'm going to show you one. This is the pot. This is the paint stick that I cut down here so you can actually see. I don't care if it's chopped. I don't care if it's all, it doesn't matter. We're going to be covering it in cotton and it's not even going to matter. You don't have to sand it or anything, so don't be too specific. I like the paint sticks for the body because it's got that natural neck right here where in grooves. So anyway, but you can use that. You can use regular popsicle sticks. I got some jute's fun to play with. So what I did was is I went, let me pull this down here, get this out of my face. T-shirts, wonderful. You want to make, you don't want your wrappings any much longer than that because you want to be in control of wrapping it. It's a pain if it's a really, really long wrapping. Yeah, it's going to be lots of stuff flying by because I'm shaking it all up. Another thing that that you can use, and I actually use, and I'm going to be using all of them in the process tonight, these little gauze pads. I like them because they open up into force. they're folded into fours, and I like them because it actually is like a piece of gauze that you can actually wrap around them, like maybe Anubis would have used. But again, these are all my. I just all I did was is take t-shirt and pants. These are an old pair of pants. I like them because it's dual colored. It's got the gray and the white in there. So I thought that would be really cool. I did this one in the gray and white here. Yeah, you can see it right here, the gray and the white. I liked it because just added another like textured look to it, to the process. So anyway, have fun with this. There's no right way and there's no wrong way of doing this except burning your fingers, which I'm going to be doing in a moment. No gain, no pain, no gain. Also, too, I like my wire cutters. Those are great because there's more power behind them. And again, this is just an old white t-shirt that I have cut up here. I got my multiple glue sticks here, which I'm going to need very soon. So I'm gonna throw one of those out on the table. So these are your popsicle sticks here that you can use as well. Again, cut if you want arms sticking out, great. If you don't want arms, I'm going to show you how to avoid the arms and do it like the old process that actually looks like a real mummy where his arms are like tied down and in front of him. So anyway, so that's one. I think I got all my goodies out of the bag pretty much here. Sticks. I got to make sure I get all my sticks. And my foot, where's my other foot? Okay, I think I got all my stuff. All right. So, what'd I do? Oh, I keep hitting my keyboard. I gotta stop doing that. I'm gonna end up ending class here. That wouldn't be good. So let me move my mummy out of the way. Let me get no thanks. Go away. No thanks. I got things popping up in my face. So I'm gonna jump back over the comments. To keep the dog away from my mummy, yes. In fact, with this mummy here, this one actually does have, I have some spruce on here because spruce is protection, and there is some frankincense in him. So I figured instead of just making a mummy, why not make it like a healing mummy or something that can actually protect you? And of course, I always put hangers on my stuff. He's got a hanger, and this puppy's got a hanger as well. So I can hang my mummies up if I used to do a Halloween tree. I'm weird. um, so okay, night, Julie. Thank you for joining us, sweetie. Sorry, but you can catch up and watch it later. And if you want to make the mummy yourself. So let me see. I'm dropping popsicle sticks all over the floor. All right, so I'm going to show you what I did here. So basically, this is what we're creating here. So if you take a painter stick, again, and like I said, I like my wire snips for this, and I'll decide how big I want the head to be. Remember, you're going to be wrapping it in cotton as well, which so what I do is I go in on each side of it, and I cut a little bit on each side, okay, and then I snap it, okay? And again, I don't care if it's jagged or if it's rough and ragged because I'm going to be wrapping it. I don't care. So again, I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to snap. Okay. So there's my body that I created. That's pretty easy. What I usually do is I cut off the points because I don't want those points on there because when you go to wrap it, yeah, this dust that's flying around is from all the cloth that I was just playing with. So you don't want the sharp edges on the side only because the cotton, you just don't want a sharp edge there. So I'm going to be dropping my camera down, but I'm going to go through the stages here. So the next stage from this is we go over the body with cotton. So you just take your cotton, and what I do is you can either pull it apart. If I'm doing a leg, I'll roll it to give it more of a leg form, try to make try to pretend you're making the muscles on the mummy, if that makes sense. So that would be the cotton part of it. And then after the cotton, I actually wrap it. And this is, as you can see, this is when the mummy is actually starting to really, really take form. And this is the finished product here that I just showed to you. Now the skewers, this is the way I do the skewers, okay? I'm missing a picture in my skewers. I am too. Anyway, there's a side view. What I did was I took a piece of cardboard and I cut like an L shape out of the cardboard, and then I folded it up to make the feet so it's if this makes sense. So I took a piece of cardboard, all right, and I cut it in an L shape like this, okay? And then I took the two skewers and I glued it to the back of the cardboard so it went up on both sides of the foot, if that makes sense. And then I stuck a piece of cotton in between, in the middle of it to give it to make it thick. And then that's when I started wrapping it, and that's how I did that one. So this is how you would do the skewers. Again, it's two skewers tied together. Then you do the cross, the small cross, and then you want to cut the skewer again. The skewers are so easy to cut. They're just here we go. They're just so easy to cut. Look at that. I mean, it's just there's no effort here. So you can decide how long you want the arms. In fact, if you're doing the popsicle method, I suggest using the skewers for arms, legs, or whatever. Not the legs, but arms if you want to do the in arms or even the out arms. But you can see how I cut. I drew an L shape here, okay, in that balsa wood, and I just cut it out. So this is actually going to be the feet for the mummy tonight that I'm actually making here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop my camera down. So bye guys. And you can see the mess that I've made over here. And let me put all my stuff on the floor so I can get more room to work. I got to move my mummies. My mummies are in the way. Okay. So I think we're good to drop you down. I need a pen to stick in the camera. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so I decided to use a red mat because I figured it'd be easier for you guys to see than it would be just on a regular white puppy pad. So I'm going to move this forward here, kick my mouse off to the side. But again, these door things, these are great. I mean, they're so easy to cut. I mean, these are actually gardening shears here, and you can see how easy it is to cut that. And I like it because the problem with the painter sticks is that it will actually when you go to cut the legs, see how it's like splintered? It went off, but I don't care. Who cares what the armature looks like underneath because you're not going to see it when you're finished with the process. So let me get my pieces here. So this is going to be my body here, okay? And I got arms and I got legs here. See how bad those are? I don't care because they're not going to show when I'm done, okay? But I could actually use the popsicle sticks in this case too as well, which I'm probably going to do. These got jokes on them. What animal has the best sense of time? A watchdog. Okay. All right. So basically, these are going to be my legs here. And you want to separate your legs, or unless you want to do a long one like I did on that one, you can do it that way. But you want to separate your legs so that way you can actually wrap it. And believe me, when you get the cotton on there, you really kind of want to separate those legs. So, what I do with my glue stick. All right, let me get my glue going here. So I always dab the glue on the end of the glue stick because it glues it to the other stick. Did you ever your glue stick always falls out when it's not far enough down? That prevents that from happening. So basically, I'm just doing a little dollop of daisy here, just to stick the legs on. It doesn't have to be permanent because once you wrap it, the wrapping is what makes it permanent. So there's my legs so far, okay? My little feet that I made, my dorky little feet here, I'm gonna just glue those on. And I want the other one going out the other way, so I'm gonna do it just the opposite way. Okay, so there, I got my feet on already. So I mean, how simple is that? Okay, so now I'm going to do my arms. And I think I'm going to use this one and this one, which is actually the paint sticks. I'm going to use it so the little ends kind of coming out to the side here. So of course, this is my neck here. So the arms would be down here. So I'm going to have to cut the top of the head a little bit further down probably. But anyway, for now, I don't care. Let's do his arms up in the air. Okay, so there's his arms. Okay. So I mean, pretty It's pretty simple, yes. Okay, so at this point, I want to pull out my cotton, okay? And like I said, with the legs, I try to do it so kind of get the muscles of the legs a little bit. So basically, we're just going to go up the leg with the glue, and I'm just going to slap it on there. It's that simple. Going to go up the leg with the glue. And I have another one set aside over here. And I'm going down the leg with that one, okay? I don't care if it's really, really heavily fastened on. It's good enough because you just need it good enough to actually start wrapping it. Now with the feet, I usually take the cotton ball. That's not gonna work. I need my scissors. All right. Well, now with the feet, I'm just gonna cut a cotton ball in half. Boy, suckers. These are good scissors too. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna put a little glue on the foot here. Put some glue on the foot here. And you can kind of tell, feel there. Okay, so the feet are done. So it's pretty. Now the body, I just put a dollop here in the middle. There you go. That's pretty simple. Go up the arms. Now the hands I actually make just with the cotton ball wrapped in the so let's see here. So there's one arm there. Yep, get on there. And I'll do the other arm here. Okay. So what I want to do with the hands, again, you want to kind of break a cotton ball in half. I want to get to the tip of the hand. Why isn't my glue stick going down? Little sucker. Get down there. There we go. Oops. Get on there. And I want to wrap it around to the back of the hand. Is what I want to do. Why isn't this glue gun working good? There we go. Okay, so we want to pull it over. Don't worry about the sides of it because as we start wrapping it, it's all going to start taking form on us. So again, I like the good size cotton for the hands because I like big fat hands. That's just me. If I can get my glue to work on me. There we go. This is the boring part. Now at this point, after you get the cotton glued on into where you need it to be. Again, with the head, I use a whole cotton ball for the head. And again, what I do is I try to form like a pocket like that in the cotton ball. If I can get my glue gun to work, boy, they're stinky this sucker. All right, so what I want to do is I want to slide his head in because I want it soft on the top, so I gotta make sure that I'm covering up those raw edges that I left there, and then I take another cotton ball too, and I fill into these parts over here. Is my gun not working? Here we go. Okay. So again, in here, this would be where the neck would be and where the chest would be, okay? So again, I would flip it over because if you want it to be soft on all sides, and I just run the cotton down the back. I'm not so particular. So you basically want to pick what is the front of your mummy and what is the back of your mummy, because when you start wrapping it, you don't want your wrappings to be ended like in the front where people can, it's just nicer to look at. So again, just going down the body, going down the backs of the arms and the backs of the legs. And then we're basically ready to wrap this puppy. I need to get a new glue gun. This one's crapping out on me. Why is it crapping out on me? Here we go. I think we got it now. Is this not hot enough? Here we go. I don't think the glue is quite hot enough. Okay, so there's the arms, and then again, I need some more for my legs. Doo, 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 doo. And around the back of the feet as well. So here's the legs. And that will be part of the feet as well too. So again, I know it looks like there's a lot of stuffing here, but believe me, you're in control when you actually start so when you actually start wrapping it. So there. Okay. So basically my mummy is stuffed right now and it's already starting to look like a mummy already. So I'm going to move my glue gun over here. So what I want to do now is I want to take the gauze um and like I said, open it up as far as it will go, okay? And what I'm going to do is I usually start again, pick what's the back. To me, this is going to be the back here. So just put a dollop on there. And this is where, if you're going to burn yourself, this is when it's going to happen because it will come through the gauze. So I'm just going to wrap it. But I'm going to show you a trick. I always use the stand on my glue gun to set it down. So I'm using this part. So I'm actually not using my fingers. Don't worry about the top of the head for right now or anything. Don't worry about that because we're going to shape it as we go. So again, I want to open up my gauze pad, okay? And I'm going to go down the back. Right now, it's just about getting the gauze on there and getting it so we're actually in control of the cotton. Again, I'm going to be going over with the other wrappings. That was an Ellie in a moment. So this is all going to be tightened up and it's all going to become firm. It's really amazing the how it just transforms as you start working on it. So again, I'm going to go just right down the back as I did. I put a line of glue. I'm just going straight down the back with this. I'm not worried about the loose end up here because that's all going to get wrapped away. I'm not worried about it. What I do with this is I'll pull it up between the legs and I'll put a dot of glue where his little winky doodle would be just to hold it there so that way you can see how his legs now are starting to become separated. And don't worry if the cotton moves a little bit on you. There, my glue gun's working now. Yay. Okay. I had it on low. It wasn't high enough. Okay. So again, we're going to take another piece of the gauze here and I'm going to open it up like fourth. But again, if you don't have gauze, I mean, I like to go across the chest this way. So again, this is the back to me. So I'm going to put a line of glue here. This is where you're going to get burnt, so be careful. Go around to the front and pull it over one shoulder. Then I'm going to do it again to the other shoulder. Again, opening up my gauze. Starting on the back. Putting it this way. Then wrapping it around the other shoulder and over to this side. Okay. And this is what I call painting with my glue gun, is where I take the point of it and I just keep kind of push down the loose ends. All right. So, and again, you can do around the legs, the arms, and so forth. Okay, again, opening up the gauze, going straight down here. I'm wrapping it around the waist now. So at this point, if you wanted to put frankincense or anything into your mummy, I would actually wrap it into the gauze, into the cotton, is what I would actually do. Like for instance, I have roses here. I might put some roses in mint. This is what I have here is roses in mint. And I have it on his belly. Okay. So again, just wrap it using the bottom of the gun to glue it down, okay? And now we're going to do one for the legs. Come on, guys. Lots of guys. So I'm going to try to come between his legs now with this. And as you wrap and you do more and more, like I said, the legs will take place. And the nice thing about the cotton too, there, see, I'm using the tip, not my finger. The nice thing about the cotton too is it's very easy to maneuver and manipulate it to get it so it looks more muscularly or however you want it to be. Again, going through. I mean, this looks like a mess, and you saw how cute they come out when they're finished. So again, just going over to the back. I just want to put a little line, little dollop of daisy in there, and gonna do my arms, my hands. The arms, what I do is I do the cloth long this way and pick it right up and pull it back over the arms is what I do with this one. Again, not worried about the loose ends right now because that's all going to be tied up when I start working on wrapping the mummy itself. So again, that's that one. But this way it's the end where his hands are going to be is already covered and they'll be soft. It won't be pointy, so you won't feel the sticks through it. So again, I'm putting a dollop of glue here, going around. That's owie number 2. Okay, and I get the glue stuck to my hand. All right. And I want to pull it kind of a little taut because I want that ball. See how it's got a ball right there? And I'm going to use my glue gun to push this sucker down. I don't want to get burnt again. All right. So basically, it looks like a gauze cross is what we got going on here. The feet, only do half on the foot. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to do the whole thing. Okay, we're going to go right down the leg. I'm going to go around the bottom of the foot, just like we did on the hand. And we're going to pull it up the back and tack it down with the glue gun so I don't burn my fingers. Okay, and the last foot, and then we're ready to wrap, guys. I mean, it's that simple. I know it looks like heck right now, but trust me, it's going to get even cooler as we go. So I got glue everywhere. All right, so again, we want to wrap it around the bottom of the foot, coming up towards the butt. There we go. Flip it over and gluing the front. We want to pull it a little taut so we're getting more of a roundness to our foot. Okay. So at this point, I would actually get my gauze and cotton out of here because I don't need that anymore. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need that. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually pull up my strips. Now, remember, this is the part that's important on deciding what's the front and the back to your mummy because you don't want to have a bunch of ends on all over the mummy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from one shoulder. I do the crisscross. What I like about using a t-shirt or this type of cloth that I'm using and just wrap it crosswise across. What I like about it is it's thick enough that you don't get the owie burns when you push it down. And this is where you can actually really start shaping your mummy out. See, just that one wrap is really starting to already make a difference on the mummy, okay? Now we're going to do the same. Again, I ended and started here, so I'm going to stay on the back. Again, pushing it down. Look, I'm not burning my finger. There's no heat there because that thickness of the t-shirt is there, and I love that. So again, it's almost like he's a little army vet here. All right, so this is going to end up here in the corner on the opposite side. but that's okay. This is where I paint with my gun, okay? But you can see now his neck is starting to take form now, and his shoulders are starting to take form. Okay, so now for the head. Okay, I'm gonna go to the head next. What I wanna do is I wanna start in the back. So this is my back side. So I wanna just put a line of glue here in the back, and I'm gonna start and I'm gonna pull it straight up over his head. So what it's doing is it's starting to shape his head at the top, okay? And it's okay if it goes down because I'm gonna shove it between his legs is where I'm shoving that, and then I'm going up his back again with it, okay? And again, pushing it down. There's not much heat there, so I'm not burning myself. I got the rose and the mint in there. Mint's protection, rose is protection, and rose is love. Okay. Um, Now I would move down. Okay, so this is the back side. So this is important for the head. Okay. So we're going to start wrapping his face now. I want to make sure that the outside of my cloth is here. Okay. So I'm starting to wrap the face now. Coming down over the side, getting rid of one of those bumps that's on the corner of his head, and I'm pulling it down to the back, and again, just pushing it down and attaching it. But you can see now how his face is starting. I have to do this side of the head, and as soon as I do that, you can see how his head's really starting to form now. Um, so let's do another one. Go to the back again. Always want to start on the back when you go to do this. So let's start this way, because I want to get this other point out of the way here. Okay, so going up here, going over the point on his head. There, see how the point, don't worry about these little ends that are sticking up here because I'm going to show you how to take care of those in a minute. Now I'm going to go to the back and just start wrapping it around his stomach just to start to get control of all the cotton. All right, and again, just tacking it in. But you can see how it's really starting to form out here. Okay. Now, this is the back here. Tack it down. All right, I'm going to start on the arm, and I'm going to show you how quickly this will start to form now. Okay, going around the arm. I like using the t-shirt material, and the reason why is because you can pull it and use it as like an elastic, and that's what's really starting to see how it's really starting to control the arm as I go down the arm. Working your way towards the hands, because you want the hands to be a little bit fat, because I think that's what gives it some character. Don't be afraid to turn the cotton. Again, I'm at the end here, so I just want to do a little dab here and just tack it. Okay. I'm not worried about going heavy duty with tacking it all down, because once I start using the baker's twine and other things on it, it's really gonna pull everything together. So again, going down the other arm now, pulling it tight as I go. I don't care. I got lots of bandage, so I know I have plenty of bandage to wrap this little sucker. Again, tacking as I go. No pain here. Okay, so there's the arms, and now I'm just going to go down the legs real quick. I know this is a long class, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down the legs real quick, starting with the butt. And I can just show you basically the rest of the technique. I'm wrapping it around the waist here. And again, tacking it down to hold it to place. There's another one. It does go relatively quick. This is my third one that I've made. Mummies here. Okay, so on the legs, you just want to go in between the space on the legs. For right now, I'm just using the bandage, not for looks. I'm using it to control the cotton. So I'm just going to go down the legs, remove my hair. Okay. Okay. So that's just to control the leg. And then afterwards, well, I'll go in and do another wrapping on it later. So again, starting with the butts. going around the waist, working between the legs. But if you guys get these finished or make any of these of your own, please put them in our class chat. I would love to see them. And I love your creativity that you guys have. Again, this is just about tacking it down for right now and just trying to get a form on the legs is what I'm doing right now. Now, if there isn't enough cotton on the foot, don't be afraid to put another little piece of cotton, which I will be doing there because I don't want a little bony foot kind of hanging out here. Now, as far as the feet, what I do is again, I go around and then to the back and just to tack it down. Again, you can see how his foot's starting to take form now as opposed to this one. Again, I'm going to go down the leg. This might be an alley. I put too much. All right, so I'm going to go down the leg to the bottom, around the foot to this way. Sorry, I'm probably pulling it out of camera. Go figure. And gluing it around this way. Okay. So, kind of getting the gist here going on. All right, so what I'm going to do now with the hands is I'm going to go around the hands and go around the top of it like this. Okay. And then I'm going to pull it to the side and start wrapping it. Okay. Don't be afraid to put a little bit of glue if you feel that it might slip or it might fall off. All righty. Glue here. All right. So you can see how this hand now is starting to look like a hand. And I'll just do one more on the other side. Again, going down around the hand. Then I go to the side of the hand. Okay. And then wrap. That's always number 3. Yeah. But anyway, so you can see I got to wrap the feet some more. And again, don't be afraid. Like I have white here. Don't be afraid to mix up your materials. I like doing the two-tone of the mummy wrappings. He's got a little bump here. Again, don't be afraid. You can snap the sticks too once you get it wrapped to move it into a certain position that you want it to be in. I have done that and it doesn't affect the structure of it at all because it's so well wrapped. Again, I'm going to go now tight around the toes. If I want to, I could put another piece of cotton in there and go in and rewrap that too, which is what I probably should do. But anyway, I'm gonna flip my camera up. You guys get the gist. And then what I would do is I would go in after I'm done. I would probably wrap this one more time to really get those dimensions. And as far as I got all this glue hanging here. And as far as like all these little rough edges here, this is what I call painting with the gun is I just put down a little bit and I just go around and I just hit these spots and I use the tip of the gun so I'm not using my finger. Also to the healer of your hand, the skin's thickest there and is less pain and I actually use it. This is what I use to mold the head. I put glue, like here, I'll show you. I'm going to put glue under here and I'm actually going to push the head and shape it a little bit with my hands. But you can see how the head's more rounded. What is up with my throat tonight? But you can see how the head's more rounded. And again, you dig out the googly eyes, throw the googly eyes on the little puppy, and this is what you end up with. You got him, and you got him. So those googly eyes, I think it's what makes it. So anyway, I don't want to keep you guys any longer because I've really kept you on here an awful long time tonight. And now I gotta find my mouse. I hid it away. What a mess I made. So again, in case you're not doing it, start with, I mean, haven't done it tonight. Start with the sticks. Just make your armature. It doesn't matter whether you're using popsicle sticks, whether you're using the skewers, the popsicle sticks here, or the skewers, whatever you need to use. It doesn't. There's no set way of doing this. And then, of course, you line the body with the cotton, as I did here, and then you begin to wrap. This is the first wrapping I did, and then and this is the finished product. Now see how the two wrappings, the two different color wrappings, it gives it that almost like it's been sitting in the ground for a while, it kind of that two-tone look. So I like that. And again, this is with the this is the way you would do it for the armature for the skinny dude here that actually looks more like a mummy. So, and don't be afraid, decorate them, have fun with this. There's no set way of doing this and no wrong way. And, but, ah, that was something. That was something. There was actually light to it and there was color to it. Did you see that? That could be fuzz, but that was not. And especially for it to turn around and go back up. And yeah, okay. Somebody's saying hello. So anyway, so, next week's class is going to be, I got glue all over my fingers. So this is why I can't keep my fingernails nice. So next week's class is going to be traditions of Halloween around the world. So I'm not going to hit every continent, but we are going to go around the world and discuss some of them and when they celebrate and stuff. So um, anyway, have fun with this and please share what you make in our class chat. I would love to see, and I'll share them with on our page if I get your okay to do it. So, one more thing before we take off. There's a little floater. Um, one more thing to Anubis, whose work is the care of the dead. I offer my praise. O God of the graveyard, great God of the tomb, preserver of Osiris, protector of Horus the child, bearer of the scale, counter of the hearts, balancer against the feather of Mot, you lead us into the Duat, the life after life in which we may dwell in peace and plenty, in which we may be reborn among those we have loved, our dearest ones, in those in whose steps we hope to follow, to whose arms we hope to return, O guardian and guider of souls, or foremost of the Western gods, Anubis, who leads us into necropolis, who carries us from the world into the world, Anubis, who opens that sacred way, Anubis, who is ancient of name and ancient of might, speaker of spells and granter of breath, I honor you. O friend of the departed, I thank you for your many gifts. Anubis, there he is, the king. So, I wish to thank you all for being here again with me tonight. You guys make me shine. You really do. I love doing these projects with you, and I'm willing to burn and sacrifice my thumb for you. But you guys are amazing, and I hope. Thank you all for being here, Jasmine and Natalie and Sarah and oh God, took my glasses off. Chris, of course, and Court of Madness. Yes, Court of Madness. And Julie, who went to bed already because I totally get it. She hasn't been feeling well. I'm worried about her. Adam and Vincent and Angie and Sarah Sinister, my beautiful daughter, and anybody else who stumbles along this channel later on. Carrie, God bless. Thank you all for being here. And remember one more thing, guys. Keep shining that light, and we'll see you next Thursday. Shine, 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 everybody. Bye.